Have you ever wondered about the terrifying legend of the Wraith of Blackwood? In the heart of an ancient forest, a stone's throw from civilization, lies the secluded town of Blackwood, a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in chilling folklore. The most sinister among these tales is the legend of the Wraith, a malevolent spirit said to awaken each year under the eerie light of the blood moon. This spectral entity, known as the Wraith of Blackwood, casts a shadow of dread over the town. As the blood moon rises, a palpable fear takes hold. The rustle of leaves turns into hushed whispers. The wind's howl becomes a ghastly wail. The townsfolk, fearful of what lurks in the darkness, bolt their doors and huddle indoors praying for the dawn. But not everyone in Blackwood succumbs to fear. Young Emily, a girl of uncommon courage and insatiable curiosity, yearns to unravel the truth behind the Wraith. With the blood moon as her only guide and a flickering lantern as her only source of light, she dares to venture into the forest depths. As she steps into the foreboding wilderness, the trees seem to lean in, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. The forest, once familiar, transforms into a labyrinth of shadows and whispers, an echo chamber for the Wraith's haunting tales. Amidst the darkness, Emily stumbles upon a forgotten cemetery. The gravestones, weathered by time and neglect, stand as silent witnesses to the past. A chill runs down her spine as she realizes that she might not be alone. The spirits of the long dead, it seems, still linger. The blood moon reaches its zenith, casting a ghastly red hue over the cemetery. A mournful wail pierces the silence. The ground trembles and fear grips Emily, but she is not one to back down. As the blood moon approached, the townsfolk prepared for another night of fear, but young Emily had different plans. Against the warnings, Emily, driven by curiosity, stepped into the forest. The hushed whispers of the townsfolk resonated in her mind, but the allure of the unknown was stronger. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum, echoing through the silence, matching the rhythm of her steps. The forest welcomed her with a cold embrace, the leaves rustling overhead as if whispering ancient secrets. The deeper Emily ventured, the more the forest seemed to come alive. Trees towered above her, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands against the crimson sky. The wind howled through the trees, carrying with it a symphony of haunting murmurs. Shadows danced around her, playing tricks on her eyes, twisting into grotesque figures in the corner of her vision. Her lantern cast a feeble glow against the impenetrable darkness, flickering erratically, mirroring the dread that crept into her heart. Each snap of a twig underfoot echoed ominously through the silence, a stark reminder of her solitude. The eerie hoot of an owl, the rustle of unseen creatures in the undergrowth, every sound was amplified, feeding her imagination. As she moved further into the belly of the forest, the air grew colder, the silence deeper. The trees seemed to lean in closer, their twisted forms looming ominously in the flickering lantern light. An icy shiver ran down her spine as she felt unseen eyes watching her, tracking her every move. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of ghostly voices that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Suddenly, the forest opened up into a clearing, and Emily found herself standing before an ancient, overgrown cemetery. The gravestones, worn and weathered, jutted out of the ground like broken teeth. The silence here was deafening. The whispers ceased, replaced by an oppressive stillness that wrapped around her like a shroud. Deeper into the woods, Emily found herself standing before an ancient, overgrown cemetery. Under the ghastly red light of the blood moon, Emily's adventure took a horrifying turn. The ancient cemetery, cloaked in the blood moon's eerie glow, suddenly came alive with a mournful wail that sent shivers down Emily's spine. The ground beneath her trembled, stirring the long-forgotten souls from their eternal slumber. From the cracked and weathered gravestones, grotesque skeletal figures emerged, their hollow eye sockets glowing with a malevolent fire. The sight was enough to freeze the blood in Emily's veins. The whispered legends of the townsfolk had come to life before her very eyes, and the reality was far more terrifying than any tale. Each spectral figure was a horrifying vision of death, their bony fingers reaching out to her as if to pull her down into the cold earth with them. Emily could feel their icy breath on her neck, whispering ancient curses that echoed in the wind. The once tranquil forest had become a nightmarish realm of the undead. With her heart pounding like a war drum in her chest, Emily tried to flee. But the spectral figures were relentless, closing in on her with an unholy hunger. Their bony fingers grazed her, their touch as cold as the grave. Fear was a wild animal in her mind, driving her to the brink of madness. But desperation gave Emily strength. She broke free from their grasp, her flickering lantern casting long, monstrous shadows on the forest floor as she raced through the trees. The spectral figures pursued her, their mournful wails echoing through the woods. Every rustling leaf, every snapping twig sent a fresh wave of terror coursing through her. Emily ran, her breath ragged and her heart threatening to burst. The forest seemed endless, the spectral figures relentless, but she would not surrender to the darkness. The blood moon cast a malevolent glow on the path ahead, its crimson light a beacon in the sea of darkness. With the spectral figures hot on her heels, Emily finally saw the edge of the forest. The first light of dawn was breaking, casting a soft glow that seemed to push back the darkness. She emerged from the forest, battered, terrified but alive. The blood moon had faded, its sinister light replaced by the tranquil dawn. The spectral figures had vanished, the forest once again a place of peace. But the chilling memory of the encounter would forever haunt Emily. With the first light of dawn, a terrified Emily emerged from the forest, forever changed. She now carried the scars of her encounter, a constant reminder of the horrors that lurked in the depths of the ancient forest. The legend of the Wraith of Blackwood was no mere tale, but a terrifying reality. Emily had stared into the abyss and emerged alive. But the memory of that night would forever haunt her. She had faced the Wraith of Blackwood and she would never be the same. The blood moon had faded and Blackwood appeared tranquil once more. But Emily knew otherwise. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, Emily returned to the town, her heart pounding with the echo of her chilling encounter. She was a changed person, bearing the invisible scars of her brush with the spectral beings, the Wraith of Blackwood. Her once sparkling eyes now held a haunted look, a mirror to the horrors she had witnessed in the heart of the ancient forest. The townsfolk who had remained locked behind their doors emerged as the blood moon's eerie glow receded. They found Emily, her clothes torn and dirty, her lantern flickering weakly. Her tale of the grotesque skeletal figures rising from the ancient cemetery, their hollow eyes glowing with malevolent fire, was met with disbelief. It was too horrifying, too unsettling to accept. They dismissed it as a figment of her overactive imagination, a child's tale spun from fear and darkness. But Emily knew the truth. She knew the legend was real, that the Wraith of Blackwood indeed woke from its slumber every year on the night of the blood moon. The whispers she heard, the ghostly figures she saw, their icy breath on her neck, it was all too real to be dismissed as a mere nightmare. The encounter left a lasting impact on Emily. She was no longer the adventurous, curious girl who had ventured into the forest. She was now a bearer of a grim truth, a truth that the town of Blackwood chose to ignore. The memory of the spectral beings, their ancient curses whispered in the wind, was etched deeply into her mind, a terrifying reminder of the horrors that lurk in the ancient forest. The chilling memory of the wraith that haunted Blackwood was etched into Emily's mind, a terrifying reminder of the horrors that lurk in the ancient forest. So, is the Wraith of Blackwood merely a legend? Not for the brave yet terrified Emily. The tale of the blood moon and the malevolent spirit that stirs beneath it is etched in her memory as vividly as the scars she bears. Her journey into the heart of the ancient forest, the spectral figures that emerge from the overgrown cemetery, their hollow eyes glowing with an unholy fire, and the eerie whispers of ancient curses are all too real for her. The town of Blackwood, enveloped in the shadows of the ancient trees, carries a heavy blanket of dread as the blood moon draws near each year. The doors are bolted, the lights dimmed, as the townsfolk huddle indoors, hoping to evade the wraith's grasp. Yet, the memory of the Wraith of Blackwood, like an echoing wail, cannot be silenced. As the tale of the Wraith of Blackwood continues to send shivers down the spines of its listeners, one thing remains certain: Emily will never forget her terrifying encounter in the forest.